3, 2, 1. Welcome to the All or Nothing podcast. My man Amadeo's in the house.
Yo.
We're going to be talking about a lot of things that he's gone through in the last few years, which is starting his cleaner sneaker brand and business and how he's built that over time. And then also we're going to talk about his rise in football. We're starting off 3 years ago, like starting from like just a dream to going into the Philippines and actually getting contracted, right?
That's right.
To many other things that we also want to talk about currently. So first one after coronavirus, finally
Let's go.
that's done over here. So let's get into it. So I want to talk about your cleaner sneaker. Obviously, I think me and you started our businesses around the same time.
Similar time. So right now, like the current date, we're at June 1st.
Yeah.
It was around about, I would say like start of May. It was already like I need to do something, but it was when I put it out there, it was towards the end of May, like on Instagram, and actually put a brand out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the reason behind you doing cleaner sneaker, I mean, you could have picked many other businesses, like for example, like me doing media, or like Clinton at the time he was doing clothing. Like what made you get into like cleaner sneakers? Because you're a sneakerhead, right?
There's something I guess like the way media or social media portrays a sneakerhead is someone that, you know, is there ride or die for any hype beast, high value product.
Yeah.
Regardless of whether it looks good or not. I, on the other hand, am aware of that culture, but I'm actually very selective with what I choose.
Yeah.
So I guess to answer the question of why I chose sneakers, it was actually it came out naturally that I wanted to provide the service to others, because I would be so obsessive with maintaining my white Air Force Ones that people actually start to notice, like, do you buy like pairs every week or something like that? Because it's so common to see in every day that they're beaten up, they're munted.
Yeah.
But people would actually point out like, hey, like, what do you do? Like, how do you take care of your shoes? And from that conversation actually created an idea in my head. And because I knew that I could use this obsessiveness with detail for an actual service, it actually translated to what we have now, which is clean sneaker.
So pretty much essentially it's just your obsessiveness to get everything clean every single time you wore those Air Forces.
Yep.
And
so I have like three-year-old Air Forces that are good.
Damn.
Yeah.
Shoes only last me like a year, man.
Yeah.
Like it just got like for 3 years. And that's actually dope, because like for me, seeing from the outside in to some like idea like that, like for me, it just never really occurred to find someone just to clean your shoes and like take care of it. But I follow you quite closely on the Cleaner Seeker Instagram, and it's like it shows like how many people really care about that part of their clothing, making sure that's clean. Always do like all the attention to detail. So that's actually cool that you've almost made like something that you're so obsessive about into a business that's essentially thriving in New Zealand and now going overseas.
Yeah, this is exciting.
So with that progression from a year ago, would you ever see yourself in this situation now?
No way.
You're sending sneakers to America, Australia. Let's name that off.
Yeah, so obviously, like here being based in New Zealand, this is where like we thrive. This is like my home place, born here, born and raised. So I always want to give back to New Zealand first and foremost.
Yeah.
But me having traveled a lot, having family in the States, friends in Europe and France, and also like in Australia, these connections I have with people only seems natural again that I serve them as well. Because what I found that really enabled me to be in this position when I reflect upon what like 1 year ago is, it's the relationships I have with people. Like being able to connect with people on almost a personal level allows people to build that trust. And it's because of that trust I'm like, hey, like, you know, I really care about this, like sneakers. They care about sneakers. Yeah. It's only natural we bond over that.
Do you think that's like a byproduct of who you are, or is that just a business plan that you went in with? Because a lot of people maybe listening today, they're like, okay, how do I make a business out of whatever their passion that they're doing? One of the key things that I found out is, you know, building positive client relations, learning, understanding them, doing that first, then giving them the product or service, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
Do you think that was just came to you very naturally, or was like a learning through business and say, okay, this works or that works? Or
so
this doesn't, etc.
I guess the first thing, like if I was to hear what I'm gonna say right now, I think the best thing I could say to that is it's okay to try and not succeed.
Yeah,
Like it's
100%.
completely like there is nothing wrong. You're actually doing yourself a favor by giving yourself the best like chance you can, regardless of the result. Because at the end of the day, it's still gonna give you that opportunity to find out what is gonna work.
Yeah.
And what I've just learned from my mentors as well is, like you're always gonna be one step closer to success if you just keep trying and trying and trying. Doesn't matter. And with me, like being like a very overthinker and being precise with details, when I first started, I was very, again, think every single thing had to be right.
Yeah.
Like with the sneakers, it's controllable because it's literally in my hands.
Yeah.
But things like people, the market, economy,
Yeah.
that's not in my control. So it was more about a personal understanding of what's the best that I can do, and then where's the point I can leave it, and the rest will follow. So for me, like like as controlling as I am, I had to realize there's only so much you can do. But directly to what you said in terms of was it natural, it definitely was, because it was built before I even created the idea of having a business.
Yeah.
It was something I'm so passionate about. Like I can, like if the listeners are trying to imagine how obsessive I am, I can go to an art gallery and look at one painting for an hour. Like I literally can look at a room, like interior design, and just appreciate, like imagining, wow, like someone actually put this much effort into what I'm literally experiencing right now. And that's that kind of awareness that built the passion for looking to detail.
Yeah.
Like I didn't wake up, and it was like, oh my gosh, like look at this shoe, like I'm gonna marry it or something. No, it was actually like just it was more of a appreciation for people that allowed something like this to be built. So it was more of, because I really enjoy the relationships and friendships I have with people, I'm able to acknowledge what they do. So because of that, I was like, wow, like, I care for people, they care about me. Like, where's a way I can do something that they'll appreciate?
Yeah.
And that's what it built. So if anyone wants to do something, like from a business perspective, it's like, just find out what you really love to do first.
Yeah.
Like, find out what you love to do. That, like, honestly, if I didn't get paid for the rest of my life, I would still do this. I would honestly still do this, because I know at the end of the day, it's not, although that people have to pay for the transaction, the value and the feeling they get is beyond monetary, like, value. So that's something that like, I can't even explain. Like, you have to see it for yourself and feel it. Like, when you see your beaten sneaker that you've gone around the world with, and you get it back like it's brand new, it's just unbelievable to people, Like, I literally had drop-offs right now. I dropped off around 30 pairs of shoes today, and people couldn't.
So you deliver by like to people's houses as well.
To people's houses.
That's a very personalized experience.
Yeah.
That's a very personalized experience, because normally with anything like that, you would expect like a delivery or like someone like couriered in, but that's a very personal experience. And I think customers and like will always appreciate that, because you get to see the owner, you get to see the cleaner of who made, like, pretty much restored your shoe. And then I think that goes a very long way to retaining clients.
Yep, for sure.
So that's good, man. That's good. Because essentially with what I learned, and what I really like what you just said, is you only can control what you can control. Like, with the cleaning.
Yeah.
When I first started doing the photography stuff, it was like, okay, you'll set up a shoot and then they cancel, and it's like you get upset. Yeah. Yeah, you get upset. Yeah, exactly. But you can't control what's happening in their life. They could be genuine, it could be fake. You don't know. But I've learned over time to just not really get that into my mindset where I can get affected negatively. It's just like, okay, sweet. If I meet this person, now it's my job to present the best to them, in terms of, like, one of the things I was always telling Henry, I wanted to be the best in terms of vibe at a photo shoot. As like, I wanted to make my clients feel as comfortable as possible, and we're just here taking photos because we just like taking photos, right? It's not like a client photographer like based relationship, but it's like, okay, but I think majority of the people that I've worked with have actually become like decent friends from that. Like, I will talk with them in the DMs like constantly. and I only some of them I've only worked with one or two times,
Yeah.
but that for me holds quite a lot of value because not only they're the client, but I've built something bigger than that, which transcends the time. You know what I mean?
So I guess like in parallel, even though we're in a different area,
The principles are still the
it's
same.
still the same. Like it's the relationship that opens up the opportunity.
Yeah.
And I can definitely tell that because like me as well, like although photography is not my profession, I still enjoy taking photos myself. I'm passionate about, obviously it comes into design.
Yeah.
And you can tell, like when you have models, you can tell whether someone is comfortable or not. You can just tell if they're enjoying the moment or they're doing it because I'm getting paid to do it.
Yeah.
And I guess what that means, like from what you're telling me, is because they're comfortable, they're able to actually be who they really are.
Yeah, that's essentially it. And then I feel that you can build the best type of work from that.
For sure. Because the barrier of the awkwardness and the shyness, which is like really there, it's always going to be there as models.
Yeah.
It's taken away, which is like one of the biggest barriers. Yeah. They trust you. They trust you.
Which I learned to work over the last 2-3 years of trying to do this. And I was doing it for like, do it cheap for like a long time until like, I would say 7 months ago, until I really said, hey, this is my rate now. Like if I want to make this into a job and a business, I need to start charging people and also valuing my time. But at the same time, you've seen some of the work I do, just take photos for fun.
Yeah.
Because I just enjoy it. Like taking photos of a car, taking photos of nature, taking photo of my mate playing football, like that type of thing. It's good because I enjoy that, and going upstairs and editing and making it all nice and then producing it.
The whole process, right?
Yeah, it's all that process. But I know it's good. I think everyone, or people listening, needs to just get that grasp because
process.
Yeah, it is a process, and you gotta love that. But also like making sure that your clients are comfortable with you and you can see them. And it's not always about the bottom line. I think a lot of people get caught up in that bottom line. It's about like, Gary Vee is just like, just don't expect anything, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Because you really you love it and you don't care about what people are going to react to it. Because
exactly.
I mean, at the end of the day, like if you find out what makes you happy, like legit, like you have all you need. Like you literally, for me, like that's without me being happy about how I present my sneakers or how I present myself, this brand literally would not exist. Yeah. If I was just like, oh, why should I care about how I present myself? Like, who cares? Like, I'm nothing special.
Yeah.
Or like, if I didn't take pride in like what I do, then this wouldn't have been like built over the years. It just would have been like, oh yeah, like who cares about what my sneakers look like? Like it's gonna get thrashed anyway. There's that mindset. So it's really just about perspective. And then like also I want to ask like how do you do that? Like what's your, without giving away everyone your recipe, but like how do you like to approach, how do you create that? Let's just say I'm first time I'm coming, I'm like, sweet, here's my sneakers, like, or I'm the model of my sneakers, like how would you create that like vibe, the energy?
Well, majority of the time I like buy something for them. So like I understand that modeling is hard. Anyone will say it's actually mentally fatiguing. So I like to buy myself a coffee. So I like get them a coffee. And I think that sets it up because it is high energy for like 1 to 1.5 hours, and you need to be like at 100%.
It's a lot of mental pressure as well.
There's
like
a lot of mental pressure,
literal pressure, like, and you feel it in your body as well, because your mind's trying to tell you like, I want to look like this.
Yeah, and I think it's when I'm working with clients, it's not always has to be about the shoot, and that's what has worked for me. Like it's about them, it's about you, it's about what's happening. So I think in the past, like I'm talking about way back when I first started doing it, it was like, okay, how can I make the shot better? It was always continuously in my mind, like what's the next shot? What's the next shot? What's the next shot? Effective planning, that works. So like I know exactly what I'm going to do, so I can give my energy to whoever I'm working with, whether it's a business or like a model. Yeah. And then when I get there, I know exactly when I shoot, so I don't have to think about it. It's no decision making has to go. Yeah. So I'm just talking about them. Yeah. And then you just have normal dialogue that's happening right now, like between me and you. Just normal dialogue, like normal conversations, and then they start to break down quite easily. Yeah. And I do that in the first like 10 minutes. I haven't even started the shoot yet. And then once they get in and into the zone, I think 9 out of 10 times it's been like solid. It's been like, yeah, sweet, let's get to work. It hasn't. It's low pressure. I think if I can take more pressure from them, it becomes easier for them. And coming back home, how many times have I been tired when I come back from a shoot?
Bro, I've seen you. We'd just come home from a shoot, right?
Yeah.
And we'd be chilling out, and by the end of the night, like Mass is literally just asleep, like in the position that we're sitting in.
Yeah, it's so mentally fatiguing because
Yeah,
that's just how it is. So I like to take that away from them and then make it more.
Would you say like sorry, just to cut you off there.
Yeah, that's
like,
all right.
would you say like because of the way like the social pressures and the way that every single detail is judged on social media for the whole world to see, would you say there's an added pressure now, like for models and us photographers, like in terms of like models would be like, oh, I really kind of, because like for me, like I'm an overthinker. I mentally think like I ideally would want to like be look
Like
like
perfect.
yeah,
Yeah.
not perfect, but like the way you kind of how you hope it to look like
Yeah.
visually. Is there ever like do you think like models or you as us as photographers have pressure like, oh, like this is we're gonna put on Instagram, we kind of have to live up to this, or do you because like I
No,
don't care.
I think from the photographer perspective, it doesn't always like that. It's not always like that. I think from model perspective, yes, because essentially it's their photo and they're judging it. They're already judging themselves when they see it. So they always like overthink. Like say, oh, look at this pimple is here, and oh, this arm shape is not right, or this leg shape is not right, and then putting that up for like the people to see. They're like, so it's already overthinking, and then you're getting judged on that. If it doesn't get, you can see the spiral. If you don't get enough likes or enough comments, and then it starts going down, you delete it. For me,
my life's over.
yeah, exactly. And it's like for me, it's not like that. I always found like you can find beauty into like imperfection.
Yeah.
You know.
Natural.
Yeah. So it's.
I feel that.
If the photo is good, composed well, line is good, that's what I see. Is that's the basics. It's like, have I posed them right? There is, especially in the bodybuilding stuff, I think I need more work in that. But with the fashion stuff, I can see my arc getting better. But for me, it's like you can always find beauty and turn it in such a way and to be more creative. So oh, you shot like this. If I can back up why I've shot it like that and why I've released it like that, then it doesn't matter what anyone else thinks because I like it, and that's how I've gone with it. You've seen how much I post. Like I post frequently because I like it. And
that's it.
I like it, and it gets me work and it gets me clients, and people like that, and as people said to like that, and I get clients come again and again and again. That's them coming back again just shows that they like it too. Because you wouldn't book a client like a photographer or so, like creative person that you don't like the first time. Like once it's done, you don't work together anymore.
For sure.
So that just tells me that okay, I'm on the right track, I'm doing the right things. It's now just trying to build a good set of clients that I can work closely with, and that's what I want to do, is build a close net of clients that I continuously work with. Yeah. Before it was like, oh, I need more. I'm only one person. You know, I'd rather keep like a solid group of clients that I always work with, so I know exactly what I have to do. They know me, I know them. Let's do it.
That I can definitely relate to that. And there's like two ways I just as you're explaining that, I could see how that translates also what I do. Is that like before I was also thinking like you, like I just want to get my product or my service to as much people as possible.
Exactly.
For the sake of it, because you want clout.
Yeah.
But,
You want to
like,
dominate the whole thing.
Yeah. It's like, we're the best.
Yeah.
No, but in reality, what's actually been so beneficial for the brand and what we stand for is, instead of trying to stretch myself thin and focus on the whole market or everyone that's there, and using it, investing my energy in building the relationships that I have and the trust I have with my return customers, it's through that I've actually been able to organically grow, because their circle and then their circle becomes my circle. Yeah. Through the people that I've built.
Exactly. It's like word of mouth type thing.
Exactly. Like literally word of mouth.
And I was telling like a few people, because everyone's like, oh, we need more followers. We need to get bigger. And I was like, do you ever like market, or do you ever like give back to your followers that already follow you? like, is that part of your business plan or at all? Why is there always more? Why don't you just give back to the 1,000 people that follow you already, that already believe in you? You know? So just
take care of them.
just take care of them, because you don't know who they know.
Exactly.
You know?
Honestly, oh my gosh.
You don't know who they know.
Yeah.
They might know someone that could change the whole game for you.
Exactly.
So, like, you give back to every single person that supported you from the first time, and then you can start thinking about, expanding and stuff like that later down the track. But I want to make sure that the principles are right in my business. And if I do take anyone on, and it's probably the same with you, if you do take anyone on, I want to make sure that the values are kept throughout. So it's finding the right people that fit in the mold instead of just that they work hard and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And the attitude is right.
Definitely, like, there's a whole thing, because I had, like, just during the lockdown, so many people had, like, so much to say, which is a whole nother conversation, but which was so weird is that...
Say about your business, or just say about stuff in general?
My business.
Okay.
People that, like, never in my circle, don't support me, or, like, haven't talked to me in years, all of a sudden they're, like, in my face trying to tell me what to do.
Yeah.
And it's a very weird, like, learning curve I've had, where it's just like, it just seems as... It's so true. The more, like, just like in the last dance where we saw, like, the more Jordan or anyone becomes successful, there's going to be a whole sea of people trying to bring you down. And it's so weird to actually live through that, because you don't expect that. Like, even me, like, I'm very small. I'm still at the beginning of my journey.
Yeah.
But yet, like, as I slowly progress, there's already starting people to be like, hey, like, you should do this, you should do that. Like, why don't you do this for me? And they expect things. And it's kind of like, damn, man, like, like, I like to clean shoes, but I'm not like a friggin' Avenger. Like, I can't do like everything that you want me to do, like, it's crazy. So I just learning, like, to stay true to values is so important, man. Like, it's so easy to get caught up in distractions and, hey, I want to do that, I want to do this. There's a million things that feels exciting, but at the end of the day, like, I've felt like I've been aware that, like, I could lose my integrity and the brand values by trying to chase these things that aren't actually a part of what was there in the beginning. So.
And also, you only have 24 hours in a day, 24 units. You have to give them away. Like, probably 8 of them are gone to sleep. So you have to use them wisely, right?
For sure.
Like, if you try to do too much and try and build to something so big, you can't put your hand everywhere, you know what I mean? Like, look at big brands. They do their stuff well.
Yeah.
That's why they're big, because they perfected something. Like, for example, Nike. They I would say before they go into, like, lifestyle wear, they perfected footwear, the right shoes, the right running shoes, the right basketball shoes, athletic type style shoes, and they've built on that and built it off that instead of just doing something completely random down the line.
Yeah,
you know,
sure. And they're consistent. That's another thing. Like, I could see in your work as well. Like, it's just so important. Like, the consistency of, like, what you do is just, like, it tells everyone everything about your brand.
Yeah. So we're just gonna take a little break. Is that good?
Cool.
Let's talk about the why then. Let's talk about the why. Let's hit it off straight on the restart. Why?
Dang. So.
Dang.
Yeah. Man, there's a lot to this, but I think definitely the why of the inspiration of why I started this was there was something I knew I could help people with that no one else was providing at the time at the level I wanted to do it.
Because where would you think, like, a sneaker cleaning service that delivers to your house, like, where is that? I don't think there's anything like that in New Zealand anyways.
So in New Zealand, there's, like, I have a few competition now.
Yeah. Because you pioneered it.
I mean, there was...
Man, you're like the Nike of, like, doing this, man. You're like the first guy.
I knew there was, like, someone doing it, but it wasn't to the point where it was within my radius. Like, people, like, talked about it. Like, hey, there's this brand. It was just, like, you had to really be in the niche, sneakerhead, and be in the scene, and actually be in the scene to know about it. And so I was like, I wasn't really thinking about competition. I was just like, the reason I want to do this is because I know I can do this at a point where, like, I'm the best and I know people will like it.
Yeah.
Because there's so much value I can give back to people. It's like they're saving money. They're saving the hassle of having to physically go to a place if you can even get the sneaker you want.
Yeah.
And then also you're helping the environment because you're reducing wastage.
Yeah.
You're supporting local, and I'm doing charity donations, giving back to the the community or charity they want.
Yeah.
So it's like they're getting the way I wanted to present the experience was you don't lose anything by coming to me.
Yeah.
I'm not taking the money from you until you're completely 100% satisfied. You can choose where the money goes to in the charity. I actually don't feel like I'm taking anything from people. Like, you know, like it's like I just want to give. And that's kind of like you said, like as a person, like the brand was created because of who I want to be.
Yeah.
And why I want to do is deeper than that. Like, I guess, like if I had to put into one phrase, is just to inspire other first generation Kiwis that come from
Overseas.
immigrant parents that you can pursue something that isn't your 9-to-5 safe job, and you can actually like,
Which is huge in Asian culture, especially.
it is huge. It's for people that don't really understand the context. That's literally there's no choice people have when it comes to
Like
living
if you
out
want to
their
get
dreams.
out of the struggle, you got to be doing like was a doctor, lawyer, engineer.
Doctor, lawyer, engineer, nurse, you name it. Like
Yeah.
any of those like safe, well-paid corporate jobs. And it's just to inspire the future generation that like, you know, you aren't limited to just what people tell you to do.
Mm.
And being blessed to be brought up here in New Zealand, I start to value who I am as a person and not who people trying to tell me who to be.
Yeah.
And this is my outlet for what I believe people can aspire to be. Like, you know, like I hope that in like 20 years from now, 30 years, someone can look at my story and be like, you know, there was a guy being told he has to be this, he has to be that. He's not good enough. You only can live up to these limitations. But I was like, you know what? Like, I want to be.
Which happened a lot with your football, right?
Exactly. I want to be who I want to be. I'm going to create it, and I'm not going to let anyone stop me because I know someday someone's going to be inspired and they're going to do greater things than what I do.
Yeah. That's cool because with me and the why was much more different to that. It was almost a sense of selfishness about it because I was working and I was making money and I was doing that. I was just not. It's like I wasn't like happy doing it. Like the people that's been listening knows me really well. I do coaching,
Yeah.
you know, football coaching, and that's one thing that I really want to become professional at because I've always wanted to work professionally in sport. Young age, I was like, I don't know. I don't know how I got on this goal because it was like, I was playing football, and I was just like, well, if I don't make it, like, what happens then? So I made a broader goal. I was like, I just want to be part of a professional outfit in sport.
Like you want to be part of the team or something.
Yeah. So being a coach was that. With photography, that was like a way out from the 9-to-5. Yeah. Being able to flex the creativity that I have. Like it just started, like this all started back in 2015 where I used to just drive around in my car and just take photos of Auckland. I didn't have a camera previously to that. I wanted to buy one because I wanted to start a YouTube channel at the time, and I just bought it. I never used it. And I was just talking shit on YouTube for like 2 months, and I got tired of it, and it was there. And I just started taking photos of Auckland every weekend, and just got comfortable with it and started taking really good shots. And people were like, "Whoa, actually, no, this is good." And I didn't have Instagram at the time. I was all about Facebook and YouTube. So my mate was like, his mate's Ben, he was like, "Yo, why don't you go jump it on Instagram?" So I started putting my stuff up on Instagram, and I went overseas in 2017 when I graduated. Just take photos of everywhere I went. People started liking it. Greece tourism used the photos. Spanish tourism used the photos. Scotland, when I went to the Highlands, they used their photos on their Instagram pages, and it started becoming like a thing. Destination NZ used my photos when I was traveling down the south, in like Milford Sound.
Nice.
And it was like, oh, you know, my dad was like, you could make something out of it possibly, but he wanted me to do that, and I was like, oh, you know, this could be something. Still working, building on that, like part time, and then Henry started becoming my client, and was like, hey, I got this opportunity. Do you want to take it? I was like, okay, cool. You know, $50 I was charging per shoot. $50. That's
very cheap.
Extremely cheap.
Like for the time, like people understand, like, man, like the photo shoot is the fun part. They don't see like the
extra hours that
extra
happens.
hours
Yeah.
that happens after.
So there's $50, and it was just like I had a mate that was, do you know Tim Coldham?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he was
One of my
like,
clients as well.
yeah.
Yeah.
He was trying to become a model at the time, and he was like, oh, yo, I need photos done. And then I took photos for him, and then just started building and building and building and building. And that built like for 2017, end of 2017 to 2018. Really nothing was happening in 2018. I couldn't actually leave my job at that time. And then 2019 came, and I really like turned it on. I was like, yeah, I'm going to really make the most of the platforms I have. I'm going to really start marketing as myself as a photographer and not just a builder. I was doing building at the time. I was like, okay, this is what I want to do. And my parents, we came with a lot of resistance to that as well. From my mum's side, she built a business, so she was like, oh, okay, you do what you like doing. My grandma was like, oh, always do what you like doing, because then normally if you're good at it, the world will tell you you're good at it.
Yeah.
So my mum said the same thing. My dad was like iffy about it. But I just kept going, and then mid 2019, I had enough of trade. I just decided, fuck, I'm gonna leave. I've had enough of it. Wanted to leave, and I was like, shit. I need to make money. I know previously we talked about it's not about the money, but like when you leave your job and you have like that, almost like a little bit anxiety about everything, and I don't really get anxiety. I'm not the type of person that gets that. So feeling that like unnerving feeling, it was really unsettling for me. I was like, oh shit. And then my mom was like this, why don't you just go really hard and tell everyone you're a photographer? So I just started marketing. I started DMing. Like, hey, I'm willing to do shoots for $50. I'm willing to do these type of shoots for $100. And then I remember people started coming back and like, oh, we'll try you. We'll try you. I didn't have any clout at the time. I didn't know other photographers. I didn't know other models. This was just over a year ago. Just over a year ago. Yeah. And I just went, this is how I built everything. I just DM'd and I told people, this is what I'm doing. And then they marketed me when I started to work with them. I was like, actually, you're really good. $50 for this type of shit, I'll pay you $50 all the time. Yeah. And then I was like, okay, now I can maybe charge a little bit more. People are like, oh, you're too cheap. $50, that's nothing. How are you going to survive with that? Yeah. How am I going to survive with that? They start putting it up, and
they're the ones telling you now what your value is.
Like what's your actual value? And then it just started snowballing. It was just like, once I got my first female client, all the females came. When I still got my bodybuilding clients, all the bodybuilding clients came. Once I started getting like athletic clients, and then all the athletic clients started asking, it was like that. And it's
like once you tap into like, just get that one person to like.
Yeah. And it was just kept doing it. And then it was just like, okay, I'm going to reinvest every single client I work with. Every female gets a whole hair kit, which I've collabed with one of good friends of mine from high school. She was in my film class. She's based out in the UK. She's just like, hey, if you got female clients, I'm looking to collab with people. I was like, I know that. So if I give you this many hair serums, can you give them to your females? And like they can like start feeling my brand, because I feel like I have a really good vegan-based hair brand, but I don't know how to get it to people. I was like, okay, sweet. And then it was just like, I'm helping her, right? She's helping me for giving like something back to my clients, and they see it as reinvestment, and they're like, oh, yo, this guy's dope. He's got me this, he's got me that, and he's producing really good work. And then like my bodybuilding clients, they get a little bit extra stuff with I buy like nutrition supplements sometimes for them.
Oh wow.
Nice. Yeah. And it's like, yo, this is for you. And they're like, oh shit, he gave me nutrition.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, like putting like a few $100 price tag and giving back a tub of like whey, it doesn't seem expensive anymore. But that doesn't matter, because they promote my stuff, which gives me more clients, and I'm willing to, that's why I said that circle is so good about keeping it, because now I can just build those solid connections.
Invest.
And I know that's not really a why, but it was just like, it was an opportunity that I had, and I wanted to take it. If I could be happy doing that and be happy with doing photography as a job, I was like, yeah, sweet. I think none of these guys has seen me like really upset while I'm been editing a photo. Yes, it takes a long time to do that, or a long time to edit a video, but I like doing that. I like it gets me up at 5:30 in the morning to start doing that.
Mm.
So that's why I was happy doing it.
Just like, from what I get from that, it's just like you wanted to just find, like, you found what was made you happy, and you were just like, screw it, I'm just gonna go all out.
Yeah. So the two things I like are football and being creative, and that's mostly visual than anything else. I'm not
Yeah.
creative musically, so I just made sure that I let everyone know that this was me.
Yeah.
And yeah.
And how
That's
do you
cool.
feel now, like looking like, how, like at the decision you made, and are you like
Fucking mint decision, man.
Yeah,
it was a good decision to leave, you know? Like even just, my dad saying, well, like the stuff you're producing is like amazing. Like I don't think, and thinking about, where we come from, like you're from Philippines and, I'm from Malaysia, most of the people in our family don't really get that opportunity to exercise that type of thing. I remember my cousin was really good at photography and just never really did anything with it. So he's just like an engineer. Like I have an opportunity because I live in this country to exercise that, and that's really I hold deep. I have an opportunity to really do something that I'm good at, and not just work in office or work in
So then our
health.
why is quite actually similar.
Yeah,
Like if you frame it that way, like
yeah,
there's an opportunity that like a lot of people you see miss, or
mm.
don't, or just simply aren't
Especially with
fortunate
our
to have.
backgrounds.
Yeah,
Especially because it's huge. Like, because
Yeah.
I get what they're doing. I'm not like, oh, you shouldn't. You should chase your dream. Like, it's not the same
yeah,
for everybody. Like people say, go chase your dream, you become rich. It's not the same. People have different situations. People have like bills to pay or like
different
parents to
circumstances.
take care of. It's not the same. So when you do have the opportunity to do what you like doing and get to make a business out of it, I was like, let's go, let's get it.
Yeah,
So
For sure.
that's the why, man.
Yeah, man. That's man. It's like that in itself is already like a big, like personal journey that people have. Like
Mm.
people, maybe younger people don't really get it right now, but like there is a point where like you're gonna have to start, like when life will ask you like, where are you gonna go from here?
Yeah.
That's when it gets to that point where like, do I go with where do I go?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, when football didn't really work out as a player, there was an opportunity to do that, become like photographer and stuff like that.
Mm.
And but going with football as well, like you're still a player and I've turned into a coach.
Yeah.
How does that play in your whole life scheme? Because for me, football and trying going to Europe taught me so much resilience,
Oh, yeah.
so much. Like I don't think I would be the same person if I didn't fail at that.
Yeah.
It's such a big part of my life that, people are like, why you like football? Because it's taught me the biggest lesson out.
Yeah.
And
that's something that there's only so much we can understand and grasp how meaningful that is, the experience, and it's true to you. And it's like the same way with me, with any experience that I have. It's like there's only so much you can explain to people, but it's only when they fully like live something,
yeah,
they experience themselves.
that's why like athletes like me and you would understand, that dedication around the sport or like whatever sport you're doing and just going for it. That's why I like, Henry and this guy knows it. Like I watched The Last Dance, the final episode, like 3 times, just because I want to absorb it, not just watch it.
Yep.
I want to be like, okay, I want to understand what the team does, what Michael does, what the coach does, and really absorb that type of mentality, because I feel like that's winning mentality.
Yeah.
And that
It
was,
is.
that is a winning mentality. So absorbing that, and like only people that have done it really get it. You know
It's
what I mean?
it's incredible, bro. Because I was just thinking, like, you kind of like when you experience something so amazing like that, it's like all you want to do is kind of like, for me, I'll speak for myself. Like, it's like when you experience something like so life changing,
Yeah.
like whether it was football for you or like for myself or going overseas, it's so hard to put into like context for people, because it's almost like for traveling for us, like you almost can literally and metaphorically say there's a lot of baggage or things you take with you when you go to places, like the expectations or
Yeah.
what you're leaving behind, and when you come back, it's like you just completely change as a person. Like
It's like the experiences, right?
it's experiences, and because you can't, even if you tell someone like I went here, I went there, like unless you're there yourself taking those steps and you're feeling what you're feeling at the time, it's like wow, it's really unique, the kind of things you can experience overseas and you can try and pass on to other people, because I'm sure like I've experienced firsthand
Yeah.
the things that I've gone through, you've already gone through yourself, and like going to you only made sense.
So yeah, we'll talk about football next.
Cool.
Dale, for like last 3 years, has been pursuing football and trying to go into the Philippines, and he was going to sign a contract before all this. Actually, coronavirus really,
Yeah,
but it pointed you into the right direction with the business.
yeah, like I mean, football wise, like this is like kind of I guess what I'd want to cover is like for the people who are from a football perspective, I'd really like to give you perspective of kind of things that have helped me along the way of such an uncertain type of goal.
Yeah,
And we were just talking previously about the things you can control.
Yeah.
A lot of things when it comes to professional athletes is a lot isn't in your control. It's a business.
100%.
It's a business, and there's only so much we can do. But like when we put our whole heart and soul into pursuing our dreams, it feels like we can control things, but
Yeah.
that's not truth. So that's one thing. And the other thing,
But that's actually a really good way to think about it. Like I've never actually thought about it as a business. I think in the coaching sense, you realize that really quickly. But as a player, it's really hard to grasp because you're like, well, if I'm better than this guy, like how come I'm not? Maybe because you're just not marketable or something like that. And probably the higher level you go, it becomes more evident, you know. But yeah, sorry.
yeah, no, of course not. Exactly, because I mean, us as entrepreneurs, as business people, we understand now.
Yeah.
Like, but when you're in the players and you put your whole heart and soul, it's like you feel like you deserve what you put your work into. But that's just
Not
the
the case.
reality in professional sports. So that was one thing definitely learned. And the other thing was when you like what I've learned from not just myself but all my mentors and people who have succeeded in business in New Zealand overseas for like 30 years, 20
Yeah.
plus years, they all tell me like at the moment, at that current time, just like Michael Jordan with his basketball, just putting your whole heart and soul into that moment and what you enjoy doing then will lead you to where you need to be. And literally like last year, like I was thinking the best position I could be in right now at this time of the year would be playing professional football in the Philippines. But through that whole experience, I started to realize the value I was getting out of just the learning was what I needed to be in the position I am today, which is going to take me so much further for the rest of my life. So I needed that experience so that I could be where I need to be today, because I literally, all the resilience, like you just said, all the learnings, all the inspiration and the hardships, it built me to be who I am now, so that when we're facing like these things like the pandemic and economic like uncertainty and who knows what next, like we're ready, we're ready to be able to actually face the challenge and say like, you know what, I'm going to face this challenge.
Yeah, because like with you said there was like a 3-year building plan to that goal.
For sure.
I think, as any young athlete or anyone, even our athletes our age, building for that long can seem like unattainable or like it seems, why are you planning for 3 years ahead? And the problem with I feel with younger players, and even with myself back in the day, it was like 3-year plan, like what the fuck? You never think about that long. You never think about the long-term game. To put in perspective, my long-term game in my business is 7 years. It's 7 years, and I'm only at 1.5. So it's like that is hard to grasp for younger players, and I think that's what I give and say you got to plan longer and not. Recently, I started my coaching account on Instagram, and I was like, players shouldn't judge themselves so early.
Just judge yourself. Like judging yourself is just really
and I think it's very easy because in sport it is about judgment. Like you have to judge yourself, and are you good? And those type of questions, it's like, if you're not getting picked, I must be doing something wrong. And if I am getting picked, I must be doing something right. So there's always judgment, and I get that. It's quite natural to flow into that mindset. But I was just telling some of my players, I was like, don't judge yourself too early, because yes, players get into the professional game at 18. But what does the professional game look like to you? Do you want to just be playing to get paid to make a living, or do you want to be like one of the most elite athletes on the planet? If you're gonna tell me that you want to become the next Mbappe, I can't guarantee you that. You know, no one can. There's so many different factors involved in that. It's gonna take a little bit of luck, like 100%. It's gonna take a little bit of luck. It's gonna take a little bit of sacrifice on your side, and some people might say genetics also involved there. Getting yourself in the right environments really early. Like for example, in New Zealand, Winston Reid, I remember him saying that the best thing you could do for your football career is actually leave New Zealand. You know, those type of factors are all involved. Like for young players to be like, hey, oh shit, you know, I didn't make it in professional by 18 because I gave myself that goal, and now I'm like struggling mentally. I was like, it sounds like I just laughed, but it's like I gave my goal to be a professional athlete at like 23 because I felt that was more attainable. It gave yourself more time, you're more developed, everything else. I didn't achieve it, but I rather done it like that than a lot of the other players that come through me. It's like, oh, I need to become 18 and professional by that. I was like, no, you don't. Most professional athletes don't become professional until 25.
Yeah. There's like a big thing that I've learned through the successful people I've talked to as well, and they're just like the biggest thing that's hindered a lot of people with potential is just that mind game of comparison.
Yeah.
And there is to a point, yes, like you can, you know, it might work for people that like it could be something that motivates them if they're competitive, like Michael Jordan or something like that. But when it comes to like where you are in your life stage and your goals, like you have to live your own journey.
Yeah.
Like some people might try and like judge you based on where they are and where you are, but you don't understand the whole circumstance that they've been through and the opportunities they've had. So like even me, like to this day, I still have to remind myself like, yo, like you are you, like you're not someone else, and you'll never be able to like try and mimic someone else in terms of where they are.
And you can't please everyone as well.
Exactly.
You know, that's what business told me. You can't please everybody. You know,
Yeah,
there's always going to be someone that's hating, and it might not come from a bad place. You got to understand that. You know, there can be points in time where people criticize you, and people always say like this, "Oh, you're a hater. You're a hater." It might actually genuinely come from a good place, so like they're trying to improve you or something like that. But you cannot get in the mindset of like, oh, you have to make everybody happy, because that is not possible.
Yeah.
You know, and once you start doing your own thing, you people gravitate to you because, you know, they know you're real, and that's the people that you need to make happy. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
yeah,
even people in your own family might be against you, but they're only against you because they're just scared. They don't want to see you fail. You know, and then people are like, oh,
I understand it.
you know what I mean? I remember that talk that we had.
Yeah, man.
You know, that was good. That was a good talk. But, you know, for going back to the football stuff, like, how was that journey for you to go from, like, New Zealand? You know, you were playing reserves last year.
Yeah.
And then you went to Philippines, and you did super well.
Yeah. So
it just shows, like, even as a reserve player, like, I personally, I got to tell you this right now, personally, I wouldn't say that a reserve player would be good enough to even try for that, because that's just how the New Zealand setup is. I always say it's like where careers die. Because it's so much, like, no one cares about reserves. No one develops the reserves. No one, you know, puts their time and effort. So it's almost like they're just lost players. But you just broke that.
Yeah. Do you want me to talk about a little bit of that?
Yeah, please.
So, man, like, what I realized when I started this goal was, like, it's going to be me against the world, because the pool I'm going to be competing against is a lot.
Yeah.
You know, like, I understood, like, people are going to be more experienced. They're going to have more networks, about, etc. Like, the list goes on. But when I started to reflect and be like, what am I good at? And what can I bring that some other people may not be able to bring? Like, what is my strengths?
Yeah.
So it kind of transitions to business as well. Like, what is the value that I can bring to the team or to a business?
Yeah.
And I started to realize, like, I have this, like, unending drive just to succeed. Just this hunger. Like, I live to try and feed myself off that hunger. to be great, whatever that means to me. Like, doesn't have to be something certain, but and also the other thing was just I knew at my time, like, my ability to maneuver with speed
Yeah.
was something that I was unique in terms of my football game, because growing up with playing basketball competitive at high school.
Oh, were you playing
I
basketball?
was playing
with him then?
competitive
Oh, nice.
basketball in high school.
Didn't know that.
And playing like Prem's football, like for club, at the same time. It allowed me to visualize and see the game different. Similarly to how, like, I guess how Kobe, he always studies other athletes and other, like, even like animals. He studies them because he wants to understand how do they visualize, how do they see things differently, and how can I use that to my advantage.
There's so much attention to detail there, and that's it for you as well. Then
Exactly.
Congratulations for doing that.
Yeah, exactly. So that from those two things, like the drive and then like the desire to just use what I knew I could be good at and not worrying too much about what I couldn't bring. You know, I had that mindset early on, like, oh, I gotta have all these things, and then I'm gonna be accepted into team. But what I realized, because of my age, being mid-20s, not having all experience, I was like, with this limited amount of time, how can I be efficient and effective with how I market myself or present myself to the team I'm going to trial with?
Yeah.
And it was, I have a drive, I have physical ability to be fast, and there's going to be some club, I believe, I didn't even know who the clubs would be. I just knew that there's going to be some club that will value that ability and they'll be able to use me. Maybe not for the whole game, maybe not like be the superstar, but I'll still be able to provide value in some shape or form. It's kind of like, in my mind, I was like, oh, I'm going to be if you could imagine, like, I'm going to be a full-time employee and have all these skills, or am I going to just focus on being the best part-time employee I possibly can? And for me, it was like, I don't need all the minutes in the game, but I can still contribute to being a winner. Like how subs in Michael Jordan's team, like, they're not the most well-known players in the world.
But you need them.
But you need them.
Yeah.
You need them. Like, you need them to be the best at what they really need. So when it's the crucial time of the game, we can utilize their skills.
Yeah.
And that's what I try to focus on, was like, this is the only thing I can control on. If as long as I commit myself wholeheartedly to this, then I know I've done my job.
And what I just noticed with you, just you as a personality, you talk about giving back, you talk about concentrating on what you're good at, and you talk about just working hard at that. And that's good, man. Because when I first met you, I wouldn't have pictured that. I felt like it's I've known you for like 2 years.
Yeah, like
just under 2 years. Yeah. It's been that type of mindset has probably progressed into who you are now, and that's really cool to see that type of mindset towards things and details and developing and doing. Yeah, no, it's good.
Because I mean, like, as you as a photographer, like, do you ever just kind of look at your work or kind of just visualize, like, for me, like, whether it was where I am now or before when I started to want to become a scholar, it was always like, what's something crazy that, like, people believe that I can't do?
Yeah.
Like, what's something that I could just prove people wrong, you know? And for me, it was like, always, what's something that no one in my circle has done that I can prove, like, yo, you can do something with your life. And I was just like, whatever it means, I'm going to find all those little details and make it work. Because I think that's where sometimes we get lost, like, we can get lost in where we want to go, is like, we forget all those little details, and that's crucial for you as a photographer.
Yeah. Well, for me, it was different, because, you know, details, that I think that was a learned skill, especially when editing and things like that. But for me, what I was good at was the on-site work. So, you know, interacting with the client. Personally, because I've got my photo taken, sorry. I got to experience how it is on the other side, and I don't think many photographers experience that. And
being
you
on the other
realize,
side of the camera.
yeah. So I've been that side of the camera and the other side of the camera, and I realized, damn, these guys are boring, and these guys are like they're always like strict in what they're instructing. I was like, oh, well, I'm quite loud as a personality.
Yeah.
Then I'm quite like, as much as I think I'm an introvert, everyone thinks I'm an extrovert, right?
Yeah.
Let's try and use this to my advantage in terms of experience.
Exactly.
So I think
Smart.
I was like, that was my flavor.
Yeah.
Now I want to say, like, I'm the best photographer out, but I can say this within Auckland. I would say, as arrogant as it sounds, in terms of vibe on site, I think I kill it.
For sure.
I think I kill it all the time.
and you don't need any validation from anyone except the people that come back to you.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, that was it. And I
Yeah.
was just like, if I just get that right, everyone's gonna
Every
think,
time.
like, fucking, I remember working with that guy. That guy was like crazy, man. He was just like loud. He was engaging. Took all the pressure off me. I was like that. I remember I was working with Henry when he first really started his business, and he had like all of his athletes in Mission Bay.
Oh yeah.
I remember this. It was really good. His athlete was really nervous being shirtless in the middle of the street.
Yeah.
So I took off my shirt.
Yeah.
And it was really loud, and I was
Yeah.
like a heavy set. I wasn't on the diet back
Yeah,
then,
yeah.
right? And everyone was just looking at me. He's like,
Yeah.
"Who's this loud brown dude in the middle of the street with taking a photo of like this ripped Asian dude?"
Yeah, yeah.
And I was just like, "That's one of the things that probably pioneered that type of vibe in terms of being on site." And it was just like everything was directed at me. Everyone wasn't looking at him. No pressure on him. I got
Yeah.
the shots. It was done.
Yeah.
You know, how many photographers do you know that would have done the same thing?
Oh man.
Like it's
Takes
you
a
might
lot of
find
balls,
someone,
bro.
but yeah.
A lot of balls.
Like
man.
for me, it just doesn't matter.
It's just like, bro, honestly, who gives a fuck, man? Like legit, like always, like there's all these questions that I had in my head that I realized, like, man, who gives a f? Like, just gotta do what makes you happy, bro.
Yeah.
Like
That's
straight
good.
up.
So I wanted to end on a real bad note. You could say this podcast. There's a lot of things happening in the last few months. There's a lot of things. You know, coronavirus happened, and being inside. Let's actually start with that. Did you actually learn something in that time away from the world?
Definitely.
I know it's a really tough question.
No, there's a lot. There's a lot actually. I guess on like the business perspective,
Mhm.
it definitely taught me that you have to be adaptable and work with what you got.
Yeah.
No matter what it is. Like we can always plan to have all these ideals and work on these steps, but I think what's important is like awareness that when you're in business, anything can happen.
Yeah.
Or just in life, just life as a whole. Like literally next week, you don't know what's gonna happen, and you just gotta take every day for what it is and be grateful for that day. Like,
Yeah.
this is the most I can do in this day, whether it's like only one little task or a million tasks. Like it's just you gotta do what is right, like what feels right for you at that moment, and don't be too hard on yourself for like comparing yourself to other people, because during lockdown it's so easy. Like, oh, this person's doing that thing, that person doing this thing. I'm like, man, just like you're living your own journey.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
one of the things I saw some girl posted up is like this is not you're not supposed to try and get ripped at lockdown. You're not
Yeah.
supposed to be trying to improve yourself. Like it's lockdown. Like you
Yeah.
can.
Yeah, you can.
You can. Like there's no reason why not to.
Yeah.
But don't be judging yourself because this guy's doing this,
Yeah.
this girl's doing this, or they're losing weight still, they're still working out. Fuck it, that's their life, you know. You
Yeah.
don't have to be that, and it's really easy to judge with everything, and because it's so easy, you get that information instantaneously through social media.
Yeah.
Easy to judge, but like for me, seeing that was like I was like that was actually really good. You know, that was a good post by you, by that girl. Because for me, it was just like, okay, I wanted to improve editing. I wanted to get really good
Yep.
at Photoshop.
Remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Once I get really good at Photoshop, I couldn't really drive anywhere because I was at level 4. So everyone was being a bit anal about distances, and I wanted to go out for a drive to the beach and things like that.
Yeah.
So I couldn't do that. But I was just like, over time, I would say that I need to learn how to turn off. Because it's like, it's always... For
Go,
me, it's
go,
like go. What's the
Go.
next one? What's the next
Yeah.
one? What's the next one? What's the next? I can improve my coaching thing. Oh, let's go do some reading and coaching. Or let's go watch a video about like with formation breakdown and things like that. Oh, let's go improve my photography. Let's go revisit and stuff. And I was just like again and again and again and again and again and again. Realized that once I got out of lockdown and got level 2, everything started working again. I was like, you just gotta get time for yourself, and it's good not to do anything.
Well, honestly,
you know?
like I've had this conversation with so many people like similar to us that are just so driven, and it is like the world blessing us with this once in a lifetime. Take a break for once, bro. Like like it's just like legit. This is the one time you're like you can actually rest, and you don't have to feel guilty about not doing something.
Yeah,
Because like it's kind of like the world telling us you need the break.
yeah.
Like
Like it was actually really good to have that break, and you know, the first 2 weeks it was like, nah, like don't break, man.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
everyone keep going, and then you saw like, you know, people doing the same thing, and it was just like, I was like sitting in my room, I was like, fuck. I was like, man, I'm tired,
Yeah,
man.
yeah, like,
I'm tired. I've been sitting in my room the whole day. I'm so mentally exhausted.
Yeah.
It is
Yeah.
dumb. Take a break, and sometimes having a break and actually revisiting something is probably the best thing you can do. You know, you don't have to be trying to finish something like all the time. Like taking a day or two off, and you come back and you're like, oh, actually, you know what, this might be a better idea. And I did that for a video when I released for a company
Okay.
that I was working for. I was editing a video, and then I came back to it. I was like, actually, you know what? I'll redo it. Finish the whole 1 minute video in 45 minutes. Edited sound, colors, everything, all edited within 45 minutes. Because I was
Because
in
you took
this.
the time.
I took the time off. I was in the zone. It was just bang, work. It's 100%.
Yeah.
Not this, you know,
Half-assed.
trying the half-ass, trying to like grind something out,
You
and
force
you're just
it.
you're forcing
Yeah,
the
yeah,
issue.
yeah.
So it was like that, and just learning just to have breaks and give my time off, and just appreciate sometimes, you know, whether it is like doing something physical in the gym, that can be a break for me. Going out playing football, that can be a break. Going out for a walk or cooking something, or just doing nothing, or just having a nap.
Yeah.
You know,
For
because
sure.
we're in opportunities. You're still working 9 to 5?
No, when I came, so context, when I came back to New, so what happened, I was still gonna play in the Philippines,
Mhm.
and I knew like I needed to make a big decision whether I was gonna continue in the Philippines playing, based on what I saw for the 2 months I was training with the team,
Yeah.
or if I was gonna, you know, come back to New Zealand and start with my business, and I was very uncertain at the time, but. Again, if anyone's listening to this point, if you're gonna take anything away from this, like just trust your gut. Like
Yeah.
I've all the best things that happened in my life has happened because I trusted my gut, even when people told me that it wasn't the best decision for me.
Yeah.
And I decided, you know what, I need for myself to actually have a healthy space to make this decision. I came back to surprise my sister on her birthday, which is March 1st, and literally like the week later, we were in lockdown.
Yeah.
And looking at right now, I still have friends stuck in the Philippines, overseas, like struggling and, you know, just wanting to be back. And it's like how different my life would be right now if I decided to just play it because I just had to force it, or because people were telling me like, you've already done so much, like why don't you just stay in the Philippines? And I was like, nah, you know what, like I need, like, for myself I need a break, just like you. So and I was able to spend quality time with my family, which hasn't happened in I don't even know when. So it's like the biggest thing I learned, sorry, that I just came to mind as you were speaking about, all I could think about was like the small things. The small things in our life is like the things we like take for granted, and we just overlook, but it's in those details. Like when I try to put two dots together, the small details, and when it comes to sneaker cleaning, is something I should apply to my life as well. Like the small things I overlook, those are things that's most important. And that's why, like, sorry, like little flex here. Like this is the first time.
It's a nice shirt.
Yeah, this is the first time I've ever gone like something on my brand on something, and when I was thinking about it, like putting out there.
Congratulations.
Thanks, bro.
Good job. Good job.
The first time, actually, during the pandemic, people, loyal customers, in New Zealand, but also like friends and family overseas that wanted to look out for cleaner sneaker that I didn't expect to, were like actually messaging me asking how I am, and I was like, wow, like these people, like, you know, must be struggling with their families and everything, but yet they still cared enough to ask like, how are you? And they actually were the one who asked me like, is there something we can support you with? Like, can we buy something or do something? And I was so taken aback because I didn't have anything prepared.
Yeah.
Because it's like, you know, I'm in young business. I only had the service, and they're like, why don't you like make some T-shirts that will go along nice with the shoes we're getting clean, because it goes hand in hand.
Yeah.
Like they're already wearing nice clean shoes. Why don't you get something we can wear with it? And that's what brought up the idea, and actually makes it a better story because I'm actually doing something out of the community rather than because for the sake of something to sell. It was actually from their idea, and I had a million ideas of like what I could put on a plain white T-shirt, and I was like, wait, like the whole integrity in the brand itself is about being clean and minimal. And deeper than that, what I realized during the lockdown was it's the small things that like I should be appreciating the most, like these little interactions, these conversations, these opportunities to see people you care about and interact with them. These are things people still can't do overseas.
Yeah.
People in France and stuff are still locked down and all these things, and it's like they're so taken aback when they see that we can actually meet with our friends. They're like, man, we haven't seen our friends in months. Like where you can't go to school, and for us it's like, what the heck? Like, we're so blessed here.
Yeah,
And
like we're literally already. It's like everything's gone back to
it's
normal,
normal,
here.
yeah. And I such realized, like, this is what the rant is about. It's like, it's not about trying to tell the world we're this and that or we're the best. It's actually saying, like, this is a simple thing, just says clean. I could have easily put clean a sneaker here and tell them all about our services at the back, all these prints that other brands are doing. But by just having something as simple as just the brand clean, it allows people to actually be intrigued of, why are you wearing something that says clean? And then that's where the story of what we do unfolds when you converse.
Yeah, I
converse
mean
with
that's a good way, because it's thinking about clean a sneaker. It is minimalist.
Yep.
And it's so that fits in line with your brand identity, and so that's you could say that's consistent
Yeah,
throughout.
for sure.
You know what I mean?
And-
And that's cool. And even with your bags,
Yeah,
with
Yep.
the card and all that, so it's also like building on branding, and
Sure.
you did that without even trying.
yeah.
You know what I
exactly,
mean?
Yeah, like it's crazy because like some people close to me were like, man, like before I started the business or as I was starting, they would just be so. They'd be critiquing me in every detail, like, oh man, like I literally was told, like, man, are you sure people will pay to get this done?
Yeah.
People will just do it themselves. People just throw away their shoes. It's just shoes. No one will care about that.
Yeah.
Like if someone, and also that mindset was applied to me with people saying, if this would have worked, someone would have done it by now.
Yeah.
You know, there's so much competition. All these things like were told, like thrown at me, like at the start. But I was like, you know what? Like, I believe in this kind of vision I have. I don't care. I want to put it out there, and then slowly, like literally for a couple of months, it was very slow, but like towards that spring summer part of it,
Just boom.
that's when it started to really pick up. Then it dropped in the summertime because everyone was out, and I was in the Philippines at the time.
Yeah.
And literally as soon as like we were about to go to level 2 in this pandemic, man, fully booked out for like a month.
That's good.
So it was just
That's
it's
cool.
just a funny way of the world saying like, follow your heart, man.
Yeah.
Like legit. I never regretted anything that where I've put my whole heart and soul, because the thing that scares me the most in life is knowing that there's that 0.1% of effort you could have made and something could have came from that.
Mm.
I hate that fear. That fear of what if is just something that
Yeah.
you can never live with.
The regret of like
Yes.
not trying hard enough or
It's
something.
just like, well, that will just haunt me for the rest of my life. Because you never know, like all the relationships and things I have now, the business, the people I've met, the opportunities I have overseas now, literally could have been crushed down if I was just like, nah, I'm just gonna stay in my safe zone.
Yeah.
Because it's just people are telling me not to do it.
Okay. Just taking one more break.
Yeah, but all good.
All right.
Sweet. Hello, people on live.
Okay.
Sweet.
So I know you want to talk about all the bad stuff that are happening in the world
Oh,
today.
It's all about perspective.
That's a good start. That's good.
It's
I
all
like
about
that.
perspective, man. Like, yeah, just like,
Sound like Gary Vee, man.
it's like, man, do what makes you happy.
Yeah.
You know, like, nah, straight up, like, I guess, like, in light of what's happening in the world, especially like United States right now,
Yeah.
it definitely hits like personally, obviously not in the
Because you have like a strong affiliation. With,
yeah,
with
like a big
United
part of
States.
like who I am and like my upbringing, and just like my heart is always going to be there, because a lot of myself has been, you know, as attached to there, because like obviously I studied there,
yeah.
and like I've good like long history of like family and friends that are living there now, and a lot of that I've learned over the past, you know, couple of years of my life has been in that country.
Mm.
So, you know, my heart goes out to everyone there right now. That's just, you know, like going through this. It was already crazy enough with the pandemic. So like,
Yeah. It's just like
honestly, man, like 2020 is literally a movie, bro. Like you literally could just, oh my gosh, like
I was just telling him, I was like,
It's a
it's like
seven-
literally everyone's forgotten about the coronavirus and everyone's just talking about the riots, you know? You know, it
Yeah.
actually is. Like,
it's like
it's like
it's-
the new thing to attach yourself to.
it's crazy, because like I remember growing up just like playing Grand Theft Auto Vice City,
Yeah.
and just like, man, this is like so crazy. It's like, it's so funny to see this in the game.
Yeah.
And now I'm like looking through my Instagram, like, bro, is this a game, or it's like it's just literally tanks going to neighborhoods? I'm like, bro, this is not even a joke anymore, bro. Like, but it's funny to say it like that, but honestly, it's so deep, and it's really bad. Like, I'm not gonna say like I've followed all the history of like African American culture because I haven't.
Yeah.
But us being like a minority and people of of color, like we would understand how far I can get in terms of difficulties being an immigrant.
Yeah.
And the the restrictions we have in terms of like upbringing and opportunities in life just simply because we're
Absolutely.
of a different color. So obviously like when I was just looking upon like the next like past 3 days, it was hard because like my birthday was yesterday. Right now it's my birthday in America, but it was honestly like this time last year was the best time of my life.
Yeah.
Like the experience I had meeting Ariana, but right now it's like a completely flipped. Like now I've completely flipped.
You wouldn't even seen this like 12 months ago. You
honestly, like the stuff that happened last year at my birthday, I never saw, and then this year, never know.
Can't write it.
Can't write it, and just as again, like what we said, like not taking things for granted. It's like just even though we may not have the platform that all these celebrities and people around the world have, it's still something we can make, like put into perspective of what can we do here in New Zealand that will prevent it getting that extreme.
Yeah, because that's a very, very, like I just posted up a story. I was like, that's a very extreme way of everything that's happening. Because it's upsetting to see. You really don't want to see the police doing that, like
You never want to see anyone go through that.
Yeah.
Like.
But yeah, sorry to cut you off.
No, yeah. So I was just gonna say, like, I think like seeing the world come together and be actually like, yo, this is like something we need to put people's attention to because it's been long enough.
Yeah.
Like we haven't been in this earth as long as the other people have been suffering. So you can only imagine, like, if I'm feeling hurt for the people I care about, imagine the people who have been living like 2 times our age or 3 times in their ancestors and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's just made me realize, like, we're blessed with this platform to speak online social media. So I really, like, me as a person, but also Clean a Sneaker, like, we definitely want to put our stance on, like, we're all about
because you posted up your stance yesterday, right?
Yes, I did. And I was like, this needs to be said. And it needs to be said because our whole brand is about inclusiveness and diversity. And that's what I value the most about being a Kiwi, is that Kiwi isn't one color or one background or one religion or one sexual orientation or whatever. It's you can still be a Kiwi.
Yeah.
If that wasn't a thing that was valued in this country, I'd still be living in the Philippines. That's like, why would we even be in this country if we weren't welcome? Like, it's the last thing that I would want to say is like, yo, we're better than anyone. It's like, who are we to say that? We're not even from this country, yet we're welcome here. And that's why, like, I want to do everything I can in my power and through my platform and Clean a Sneaker to say, nah, like, where any form of discrimination, it's never accepted. It's never okay. Because it's just like, I've heard people and I've experienced it where, like, they say like, oh, it's only minimal, like, racism, or it's not that bad and stuff. And I'm like,
and talking about in States, or we're talking about here?
And here in New Zealand, it's like people would say, like, just throw it out and just be like, no, it's not that big of a deal. Like, that's only in the States.
Yeah.
And I feel like that kind of attitude is what brings to life the problem, is that, like, people will just keep ignoring it because it's like it's only so small, and then it'll keep growing. And before you know it, it could get as bad as that, because there could be people that, like, have had enough. And just like the coronavirus, like, unless we take, like, our stance on it and shut it down while it's small, then it will never be controllable. Like, the way we've the way we've controlled and flattened the curve for corona, it's literally the same thing. Unless you take it while it's early.
You don't think about it like that. Yeah, it's a good way to think about it.
It's literally, that's it. Like, if you wait for it to be too late, look what's happening literally in the same country. Like the riot stuff and the pandemic stuff. Like,
yeah, because for me it was like everybody's engaging with this type of content that's being released. Like, shit. It brings a lot of light to what's happening over there.
Oh, man.
And for me personally, I want more light to be shown around the world where it also happens, because the United States is not the only place. I made it very clear on my Instagram today that this happens institutionalized in Malaysia.
Okay.
Just very different. It's not overt. It's not like violence.
Yeah.
it's set in the rules.
It's systematic.
It's systematic, yeah. So it's like, how do you go about it when the people, because we were talking about Asia and stuff like that before in the Philippines.
For sure.
They don't have the right platforms, or they haven't learned the right platforms to actually go talk about it, and when they do talk about it, they get shut down.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's like,
Third
why
world
why
country.
why fight? But places like America or any Western
Western
country has that right to exercise it, and you always see that. So
Okay.
I want to like tell people that it happens everywhere, because it does happen everywhere. And back where I'm from, it's like I want to bring that light there.
Yeah.
The best way I can, because that affects my family deeply.
Like people you literally know.
Yeah.
Like
so,
it's like almost like same problem but different mask, or like different.
yeah,
way
it's a
of
different
seeing-
mask,
Yeah.
because you don't see it on the news.
Yeah.
You don't see it, like people don't talk about it. You know why it's not talking about? Because it's covered up so well.
That's why it's
Yeah.
something that's so hard.
It's
to
just
break
America
down.
didn't cover it up so well. That's why everyone's seeing it. Everyone's like,
Yeah.
"Whoa, this is not us. It's not America." But like I'm saying, it's just because other countries just covered up really, really fucking well.
Like I was just literally just having a conversation before coming here. Just thinking the reason why it's like we're so blessed in this position, the time we are living right now, is that everyone has a device to record, and everyone has, in the Western world, everyone has the opportunity to see different platforms of content. I can only imagine back in the day, in the newspaper times, if there was only like one or two newspapers that were mediated with only a certain agenda,
Yeah,
they had no choice but to believe that was right.
yeah, exactly.
But now we actually can look for, like, research ourselves, take independent action, and find out what actually seems to be credible. Now we can actually decide for ourselves. Wait, actually, is that wrong? Like the mainstream media telling us something that is incorrect, and we're in that unique opportunity now where we can actually say, like, actually that isn't right, or we don't agree with it, and actually tell people.
Yeah,
Because I mean, if you told people like they're wrong back in the days when no one else was saying anything, you'd just sound like a freaking crazy person.
yeah. But now everyone has like their voice, and they can project it and
Exactly.
share it.
And it's like all I hope is that, like, for our future generation, the teenagers right now, when they grow up, like they won't have to go through that whole idea where the older people are telling them, "No, you're wrong because there's no other way."
Yeah,
But actually now, when we grow up, we actually know we can be wrong sometimes.
yeah,
Like like we can actually, like, not everything you see online is right. Like
exactly.
back in the day,
Don't take everything you see with a grain of salt. Do your research and understand where it's coming from, and then make your judgment on it.
exactly. I think it's just like people just like those what do they call it? Like those headline clickbait.
Yeah,
Like
it's
there's
just like,
sound bites. It's
Yeah.
like, oh, and that's it. That's everything. Like, ooh.
yeah. I would always say to people, like, just take every individual as an individual. If you just think about it like that, like you don't have to like everybody.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that you have to like everyone. Just take people as an individual. Yeah, there's color, there's gender, there's all these other things that are happening in the world. I think if you just take people as an individual and just judge it on that, you just like you get to judge people on like their character.
Yeah.
Like it's just Martin Luther King. It sounds like I'm preaching,
Yeah.
but it's like honestly, it's that. That's why. I'm actually like happy to say like I have a solid group of friends from around the world. Because I'm just like because it just does. I don't care about it. Like I don't care if you're white or like Afghan or whatever. That's just how I've been growing up.
Yeah, because
You know
like
what
I
I
mean, like the best place to start is like in your own circle, your own household.
Yeah.
And like even deeper than that, like yourself. Like I actually was like reflecting on this. Like, why do I think the way I think in certain context? And it's like really the upbringing, the culture of coming from a Asian household.
Yeah.
Or like it was one thing to like experience it because you're from New Zealand, but going back and living in the Philippines,
It's very different.
and literally seeing and living through the mindsets, the attitudes there, and the lifestyle, you start to understand why certain things are built like that. It's because over time, like the whole like ideal of you don't talk back to authority, whatever they say is right, 100%. There's nothing else can be done. That is built because hundreds of years, the Spaniards were taking control of the Filipinos,
Yeah.
and like they learned that if there's authority and you could die, we just have to take their word and survive with it.
Yeah.
And I guess that like migrating to another country, you would think that like our parents would be like, we're gonna do what we can to survive, and like because all they know is like experience like limited opportunities.
Yeah.
You just gotta take what you can. But we're blessed now to in a position where we can actually choose where we want to go.
Yeah.
Like there's opportunities we can create. That's something like you said we talked about before. Like there's nothing of that kind of context before.
Yeah.
And it's just like right now I just encourage people that like, you know, if there's something you don't like and you see it, like call it out, because even if it's uncomfortable and people don't agree with you, like if you know it's right, like it's right. Like there's no arguing with anything.
And everyone has their own perspective.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like everyone does. If you can back it up properly and not be like stupid about it.
Yeah.
Like you understand over time. When people like just say, "Oh, I don't like it because I just don't like it," it shows that you don't have a really good understanding of what the hell's going on.
Yeah.
You know?
It's like they're claiming their ignorance. Like
Yeah, it is.
I
So
just
like
hate people because I just do.
like I know why I don't like durian.
Yeah.
It smells like shit. All right.
You probably disliked it before you even knew what it was. You're just like you smelt it. And you were like,
Yeah, it's
"Bruh."
yeah, like that's the reason why I don't like walk around. So I don't like it because I don't like it. Because my whole family likes it. I don't like durian because it smells
Yeah.
and it's such an intense
Like
taste.
I don't have to like it.
Yeah,
you know, like-
exactly. You don't have to like it. You know what I mean? It's just back yourself up with.
Yeah.
Be comfortable backing yourself up. Just if you can back it up, it's good.
Like I guess like what I would put out there, like if anyone's just gonna try and listen to a certain part, is it feels like it's the end of the world when the people around you that you care about doesn't agree. But what I've learned over time is there will be people that are
I agree.
like-minded.
Yeah,
And they will connect
yeah.
with you. And when that happens, it's beautiful because it was like me, like, no sidetrack a little bit, but being a fan of a certain artist, you feel like, man, no one else likes this kind of music. I feel alone. It feels like a lonely journey. But then you will find people, and I've made the best friends overseas just by having that common interest.
Yeah.
And just because people around you may feel a certain way doesn't mean that everyone's going to feel like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Cool. It's like finding your circles.
Exactly.
Find the people that fit in their circles. All right. Well, what do you want to tell everyone?
Oh, man.
Last mission statement. Let's go.
Yeah, definitely, like, whatever it is, like, whether you know what you want to do in your life or you don't, like, just straight up follow your heart, do what feels right, and you'll find out what really is meant for you. And when it comes to...
Don't be afraid to fail.
Don't be afraid to fail. And, like, literally reach out to people. Like, you are not going to die by sending a DM or asking that friend, can I ask for some help? Because someone, if you are really,
yes,
if you
that's
are
a good
really,
one, yeah.
if you really are driven, if you really want it, people who have gone through what you're going through will sense that straight away, and they will take your hand and like actually like show you the right way to do things because they've been through it and they know what it's like to not have anyone.
Yeah.
So that's like for me as well. If there's any one young person that wants some advice for football, for life, for my business, literally just DM me. I'm not gonna like ignore you. I will actually want to help you because I know what it's like when the whole world's telling you it's not going to work. So that's my mission as a person, and going forward this year is I want to continue to inspire people that if you want something in life, put your whole mind, heart, and soul into it, and the right people and the right opportunities will come up sooner or later. This might not be immediately, but it will come through.
Dope, man. I like that. That's
bro.
good. That's good. That's good. All right. We're done. All done. Amadeo in
Let's
the
go.
house.
Let's go. Check it out. Amadeo Abrogena. That's
Spell it out.
Abrogena. That's Instagram. But Cleaner Sneaker, it's Cleaner Sneaker 1 on Instagram. CLEANER.
I'll plug it in.
Yeah,
I'll plug
I'll plug it.
I'll plug it
I'll-
in.
yeah.
Don't worry. Don't worry. I'll plug it
But
in.
yeah. And yeah, hit me up on there. And yeah, I'd love to hear from you. Thanks so much for listening.
All right. Dope.